All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to season 3 of Black.Queer.Alive. And I am here with Nicki Jizz. Hi, Nicki. How are you?
Good. How are you doing today, Mimi?
I'm doing well. I was just telling you earlier, it's been a long and busy day of conversations, but I'm really excited that you're my last person for season 3.
You know what they say, save the best for last. And
Oh,
sometimes they also say other things, but I might not be the best. Who knows?
I appreciate that. Nice. Okay, so I and also I appreciate you for being in full drag. I didn't anticipate it, but I'm happy that you are. You look gorgeous.
This is nothing. I just threw on a little, I just put my hair up and called it a day, just
Mhm.
rolled right out of bed
Yeah.
after 5 hours of beating my face. But yeah, no problem. Want to give you the full effect, give you the full glamour experience,
The full Nikki Jizz of everything.
full physical
Yeah.
health.
All right, let's jump into it, my dear Nikki.
Let's do it.
Tell me your age. Occupation feels like a weird phrase these days. But what are you passionate about? Or what motivates you?
Okay. Well, my name is Nikki Jizz. I am also go by my boy name, which is Nick Marshall. I am 32 years of age. I have been doing. Nikki is only about 5 or 6 years old. Five, 5 years old, about to be six coming up. Um, my job, I am a full time drag queen at the moment. When things were open during, pre-COVID, I managed the world's largest independent record store. I work at Amoeba Music in San Francisco in the Haight. I managed that store, but now I'm at home doing some internet drag, hosting shows. So that's like my occupation, I guess. What I'm passionate about, I'm really passionate about my drag. I'm really passionate about um, giving, like, uplifting Black voices. That's a lot of the things I do with my drag as well. I'm passionate about my relationships that I have with my partner, with my dog. Um, yeah, I'm passionate about. I don't know. Yeah, I'm passionate. I guess those are my passions, the things that make me happy. Friends, family, drag. Um, yeah.
What what made you transition into doing trad? What the fuck? What was
I call it trash sometimes too, but
I don't know where that came from.
it's
What
okay, girl. It's fine.
what made you transition into doing drag about 5, 6 years ago? Like, what was? Did you see someone on stage? Um, did you always have an itch for the art, like, or was some people, some of the queens, the younger queens, they see RuPaul's Drag Race for the first time, they go, "Oh my god!" So, what was that like for you?
So I wasn't like a lot of queens are like Halloween queens or like New
Mhm.
Year's Eve. I was not any of that. Technically, I guess I started doing drag even before I started doing drag when I was about 14, 15.
Wow.
I would sneak out. Me and my friends would sneak out of the house and like go to Rocky Horror Picture Show
Like the
viewings,
theater
like the live
performance?
viewings where everyone gets dressed up and does like the audience participation. So I would do that. Like when I was like 14, 15, I'd be telling my mom I'm staying at somebody else's house and I'd bar her heels. That's when my feet were small enough to wear her heels.
Ah,
I would steal her heels and I would do it then. But for that, that was just more of like me dressing up and having fun. And then years went by, and then I wasn't like like of course I watched Drag Race and I was like inspired by that, but it wasn't the reason I started to do drag. Um, I started really like getting immersed in SF queer nightlife and like going out to more bars and hang out, having new friends who are queer and like going to like being in that scene, I guess. And I would go to the Stud bar, which is no longer has four walls. It's in transition to finding a new place. I would go to the Stud and I would go to Aunt Charlie's Lounge in the TL, and they would have drag shows there. And I just would love watching the queens kill it on stage or not kill it sometimes, and I just love seeing that, and it was always so much fun. And then one night, my job does like a work party where everyone gets their bands together, and then we just have like a band work party. Everyone like has their bands together. They play a few sets, and it was right as Beyonce's self-titled album came out, and I was like really feeling my oats on that album, as everyone was. And I was like, you know what? I want to do like I want to do a drag like number for the work show, and I ended up doing like an 8 minute Beyonce medley. I thought it was the cutest girl in the world. I barely shaved. I had I like might have had some blush, maybe a little bit of eyeliner, and like I thought I went out there and did a number, and then I started performing like 2 weeks later, and then
Nice.
here I am, still doing it.
Nice. I want to do like a comparison or just ask what
Yeah.
San Francisco nightlife was. I'm an LA underground queen. I I came up with the Mustache Monday crew of folks. So what is the I know you're from Inglewood, but what was the San Francisco queer nightlife like prior to COVID, like pre-Rona?
Um, wow, SF Queer Nightlife. It's it was I loved it. It was great because that's where I actually blossomed, and my persona as Nicki like really grew, and I grew as like a queer person and learned a lot about myself. So I guess it feels really good and home to me more than LA ever did, because when I lived in LA, I I went out, but I hit 21 and then moved up here.
Okay.
So I really didn't really have like the full 21 new ID going out to all the bars. I did go to some bars, I snuck in, but I mean, everyone had their night at fucking arena, and like bars we go. I had my moments, but SF Queer Nightlife, I really loved it because it always felt like home and family, and I found a great group of friends and community that was very like receptive and very they motivated me. And whenever I like had ideas, they were like, go for it, or gave me ideas and really nurtured like my growth. Um and yeah, I love SF nightlife. I mean, everything, I mean, it could be better. Every nightlife could be better. If the bars were open later, that'd be great too. But things have been really great. I love going out. I'm more of a because in LA you have like the WeHo girls, you have
Yeah.
the WeHo crew, you have
Yeah.
downtown LA.
Yeah.
Well, and here we have the Castro, and then we have Soma. And I've always been like a Soma girl, which is like Castro is very like WeHo,
Mhm.
and Soma is very downtown LA. And downtown LA is more of like whatever goes, kind of feel. And I always resonate really well with downtown LA performers and that scene because it reminds me of like where Soma's like you can be a hairy girl and go out on that stage and do it, and no one you don't have to do pop numbers. You can do whatever you want, and I kind of love that. I think the whatever the fuck you want to do kind of attitude was always something that about SF nightlife was like what I loved. It's like you can do whatever the fuck you want and we're gonna eat it up.
Beautiful. Yeah, I've always been a downtown kid. I was like the WeHo bitches. It's too many white folks. It's too much. We're not
Yeah,
doing this today.
trust me.
Um,
I
right.
mean, that's like a common thing. What I always realize, like especially in the Castro, like that's how it is here, and like even in Soma too. But I think it's what you allow to be like what you want to tolerate, and it's that time where I ain't got time to tolerate none of this bullshit.
Yeah.
No, no, ma'am, no, ma'am. So yeah, so I've just been like cut it out, and just like I want to surround myself around people that are like-minded and very supportive, and you know and if you don't, get the fuck out.
What's been ugh, words are fucking hard for me today.
It's like you've had a long day.
What's been what has it been like to transition from, being out with folks, being in community, and now being online? Like, do you feel like people are coming out more? Um, what has that been like for you?
Um, it's been it's been a roller coaster. I will be honest, it's been wild. It's been a fucking roller coaster because I went from performing 3 to 4 times a week, also on top of my day job, which I did 5 days a week, 8 hours a day. And I would work, get off work, go home, paint, go to the club, get home at 3, sleep for a few hours, and rinse and repeat and do it all over again. And that was like very tiring. Like, so I've gotten a lot more sleep. So that's like one good thing out of it. Um, but it's been a weird transition. It's been hard because for the past 5 years, my life has been very hustle and bustle, one gig to the next gig, or one thing after another, and being surrounded by people. And then it just like, you know, all of a sudden out of nowhere, it's like I'm in my own house. I'm four walls. I'm very limited who I'm seeing. So that was really hard for me, especially as an extrovert. Like I'm a very social person. So it was really hard in the very beginning. And I love being on stage. I love performing. So that was something that was really hard. It was like, I can't do this anymore. Like I have to figure out how to do this. And luckily luckily this whole digital drag era began. Big thanks to Bitch Puddin, who is the winner of season 2 of Dragula, who started digital drag. Them and my friend Megna, they did that very first big drag show, which I was a part of, and it was really beautiful. And I think that was like something that was like uplifting and really motivated me, because it was like before you're performing for just the people in your city, but that night we performed for 10,000 people all over the world. There's people in different countries, 10,000 people tuning in all at once. And that was like really wild. And it's like, all that's happening, and you're like, oh wow, can be, we can still make nightlife and queer community, just through and the internet, we can still make this work somehow. um and like that was a great moment. But performing and making these videos is nowhere the same as performing live on stage. I love looking at people's faces and seeing their shock or awe or their disgust or whatever it may be that we're doing on stage. I miss snatching dollars out of people's hands. I really do. Like the other day, I like literally just snatched money out of my boyfriend's hand. And I was like, I'm sorry. I missed it. And he was like, I'm sorry. Oops. I miss those things. But with digital drag, you can, whatever you want, you can make it happen. Like with a green screen, you can make all your dreams come true, and like every idea that you've ever had. It's been a lot, honest. Like there's some ups and downs. There's been nights I've cried after doing numbers because it's like I just miss it so much. But drag queens, we are now makeup artists, we're hairstylists, and we're also editors, directors, camera guys, lighting crew. Like I am fucking Steven Spielberg in a wig, like making this shit happen.
Yeah.
So now we got our bigger resumes, so that's nice.
Nice. I love that positive outlook. I think it's necessary.
I mean, that's the only way to get through it, because it's rough. Like when you're doing these digital drag shows, like you put a lot of time and effort into the videos and editing, and then like you can send them in, and their money's not guaranteed, really. Like just like always, we're working for the grace of others to give us money, the charity of others, the generosity, and you're just like working, waiting for that. But sometimes everybody's hurting right now. It's not like everyone's at work, they're making tips and stuff. So it's like sometimes you do a number, you make $5, 10, $20. Sometimes you can do it and you can make $100 in a night, which is great. But like but the best part is it's a video, you recorded it, you can send that shit into another party.
Right.
Send it in.
Right. It's a strategic it's a strategic play at this point. You gotta be like, I'm gonna send this there. I know the queen's got money here, so we're gonna make it happen here. Yeah, it's a different headspace for sure. Oh, I miss I grew up in drag culture. I miss it so much. There's nothing like it. It's my favorite art form. Period.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a very freeing and fun art form. Like it's something that's like anybody can do it.
Yes.
Anyone can do it. You don't have to be queer to be a drag queen. You can do anything. You can be non-binary. You can be a cis woman. You can be a cis man. You can be whoever. You can be whatever you want. Like my dog is a drag queen. Like I I throw some lashes on him sometimes, and with consensually. But like anybody can be a drag queen. Like I don't believe in the fact that some people are like, oh, drag is for cisgendered men, things like that. It is an art form that is for everyone. And if you want to throw on a lash and go out there, or maybe not throw on a lash, if you want to go out there, perform, or have fun, like I think that's all that matters. And that's something that was always like, like I loved about drag is like you can just be whoever you want and have fun with it, and you can express a part of yourself that you may be afraid to show in regular life, or sometimes it helps people like come out and show who they really are.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's opportunity. I'm gonna pivot a little bit, my dear. If you feel comfortable, um, what is your gender expression and how do you sexually identify?
I am a queer cisgendered man. I My pronouns when I'm in drag is she, her, ho.
Okay.
Uh, she, her, ho. Uh, but when I'm out of drag, I'll go by he, them, they, her. What as long as you ain't calling me out of my name negatively, then we're fine. Unless you're paying me money. If you pay me money, you can call me almost anything, honey.
Good money too. Okay.
Money. Zero. But yeah, that's me.
Where do you find home?
Um, I find home on stage. Um, like on stage is where I feel the most comfortable, I guess. It's where I feel really at home. My home bar, unfortunately, just had to be closed down due to COVID and rent prices. San
Was it
Francisco rent prices have been raising and going up higher and higher. And my home bar was the Stud, which is one of the oldest gay bars in San Francisco. Unfortunately, they had to close down their physical space, but we're still doing stuff online. But that's my like was my number one home place. Like I was there like at least 3 times a week, and even if I wasn't performing, I'd probably be there as well. But home, yeah, being on stage, being with friends and family, usually they're on stage with me, and that's home for me. Like being on stage with the lights on, with a cocktail waiting for me backstage, that is home.
Mm. I had the privilege of throwing a party at the Stud once, and everyone there was just so. I love the Stud, and I drove past there maybe about a month ago. It was like early December, and the painting is gone. Like it's
It's
fucking
so
heartbreaking.
horrible. Yeah, it was really tragic. Like when the Sud had to leave, and I found out that the Sud was closing its space, literally maybe like 5 minutes before I went on air to host a drag show. I was
Oh,
hosting a digital drag show, and I found out like 5 minutes before, and I like bawled the whole entire show. Like the whole entire show, I like cried. And like it was sad, and we did a giant like 12-hour funeral for it. And the Stud, if you've never been to the Stud in San Francisco before, there was a really beautiful mural along the walls of the Stud on the outside, and it was gorgeous, very queer and very like welcoming. It was just beautiful. And that mural, once the building was sold to or given back to the landlords, they painted it over to like some hideous beige gray, and it was right, they painted over it right before Pride too, and I was like, you can wait until after Pride.
oh,
It was bullshit. But on Pride Sunday, people went there and had a socially distanced like party in the alley of the Stud, and like people just spray painted and like repainted the Stud and wrote like Stud for life, like Stud is life. Somebody wrote my name on there.
oh,
They spelled it wrong, but they wrote Nicki Jizz. Nicki Jizz was here, but they
oh,
said Nicki Jizz with a G. was really funny. But it was really beautiful that like people came there and they were like, we still want to like pay respect to it. And yeah, it's really beautiful where all these queer people were like, this is where they felt safe, you know? And like a lot of brown people felt safe there. And there's very few like spaces like that where like black and brown people are non-binary, queer, trans, like people feel really safe. And the set was one of those places that I know a lot of people like, this is like a welcoming space for everyone.
Yeah, R.I.P. Shit. This COVID's about to, man. This I feel like this is just the beginning of queer spaces.
It's a doozy. It's been a lot. I mean, one of the positive things I've been paying attention to out of COVID is now how accessible things are now. Everything's a little bit more accessible. Everything's online. Everyone's doing Zoom. Like all these drag shows are now accessible for everyone all over the country. You can watch it at the drop of a dime. And before, you know, like maybe people didn't have money to pay for a cover, or people are who have compromised immune systems who can't leave the house, or there's people who like the bar doesn't have accessible like you know seating or things like that. And now these people have the ability to still be a part of queer nightlife when before they couldn't really do that. And I think that's like one of the most beautiful things out of COVID. I mean, one of the only things is that now everyone can be, you know, everyone's on a level ground and everyone can be a part of the party.
Yeah. What are you searching for, Nikki?
Um, shit. I don't know. I'm searching for a smaller waistline, uh, but um, I'm searching for I guess I mean, there's so much I'm searching for. I'm searching for balance in my life. Um, I've found like purpose and I'm learning how to balance the things in my life and balance my life schedules and like what I need versus what I want. Uh, you know, like have been, I realized like during this COVID time, everybody's had their time to like, you know, sit and think about the choices they've made in their lives and things like that. And I realized like you know, with my like in nightlife and working, I was trying to do so much for other people and I need to take time and deal with stuff for myself. So I'm trying to find the balance between what I want to do to like give back to others and what I need to do to keep myself sane.
I'm just curious at this point. What's your zodiac sign?
I'm a Taurus.
We're both Taurus.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, April 22nd. Yeah, if a few days earlier, I would have been Aries, but yeah,
I
I'm a
was
Taurus.
I was gonna say I feel like you're a fire sign, but Taurus also makes sense too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. My partner he's always saying like I never really like paid attention to like astrology and zodiac stuff that much, but he was like, oh, he's like, I knew you were a Taurus because you like bougie things, you like having the nice finer things. And he's like, you know, Tauruses, you guys will want like you just like spending money, and I was like, oh, so now I'm like, I'll take two. I'm a Taurus, like I can't help. It's an excuse to like overindulge.
We like to spend money because we work hard for our money. Just throw that.
Yeah, I work hard for this. This is my moneymaker right here. I work hard for it to like entertain people. It takes a lot, but it's what I love doing. And
Mhm.
you know, yeah.
Mhm. Nice. I'm glad that I get to talk to a fellow Taurian. I feel like we don't get to run into each other so often. Who is the first person that you saw, like, and it could be in a book or read in a book or seen on stage, music video, anything that you felt connected to?
Um, wow. I actually was talking about this with someone the other day. It probably would be Journey Smollett.
Oh
Oh yeah, her
wow.
name.
Okay.
Because as a kid, she was like that black actor, like little kid that was always in everything. She was in the Olsen. She was on Full House. She
Mhm.
was Michelle Tanner's best friend. Like she was on there. I remember watching this movie Eve's Bayou. Do you remember that movie? She
Yes.
was in that. Oh, if you've never seen Eve's Bayou, find it right now on Prime or whatever you got. Watch
Like
Eve's Bayou. It is
something.
so good.
Mhm.
But I remember watching her in that, and I watched it recently, and she's such a great actor. and I remember seeing like a young like black actor, and I was like really like it resonated really well with me, and I was like, wow, that's somebody like I could do that. Like if she can do that, I can do that. Her and also, um, he was my favorite, but it was Tia and Tamara's little brother from Smart Guy.
Oh, really? Okay. Okay. I
I
forgot
like
his name, but
loved him. Smart Guy was like Taj Mori. But yeah, I like watching those like young actors and really seeing them. Like I was like, I remember seeing black representation on TV, and I'm like, I want to be like these kids. Like I can do this too. It's great to see, like black actors immersed with these like white TV shows that were being forced down our throats. And I remember like seeing having those kind of shows like, you know, like Smart Guy and Sister Sister and like growing up with Moesha and like all these movies and like Family Matters, like seeing that was like very influential and seeing that like black people can do that as well because they don't tell us that they don't tell us like black people can do whatever you want.
Mhm.
They put us in this box and that's what we think we have only can do.
Because it's like we have to create these narratives ourselves. That's pretty much what we're doing, for
Yeah,
sure.
we have to build our own boxes. We have to build this stuff like because like we have to break out and make our own decisions in our own lives and make our own like paths, and not this fucking like shitty little winding trail that like society has given us.
For sure. When do you feel safe?
Um, when do I feel safe? Um, I feel safe when I'm like at home with like my friends and my partner. Um, when honestly like it's really cheesy, but like I do feel safe with like when I'm at home and when I'm with my partner and like with our animals, like and we're all cuddled up in bed. Like it's the time that I feel like safe and like secure, like especially early in the mornings. Actually, mornings are like my favorite. When we wake up, we like it's like cute lovey dovey time, and it's just like that's when I feel like the safest and like really happy. Like it's like mornings waking up and like just knowing that like another day is about to begin and like I feel good and like at peace with things. I don't know. Yeah.
That twilight time is just something about it is magical. You don't
Yeah.
you only get it once a day, and it's just like, ooh, what's in store for me? What's gonna happen? It's
Yeah,
very
you never know what's gonna happen. Like shit. Like when you wake up in the morning, that's like a few times in the day where like it's a new day, it's a new start, and like you can be happy. And then you look at your phone and then you see, oh my god, this bullshit I got to deal with.
palatable
Like
shit.
before you look at your phone, you are happy. You just woke up. You feeling maybe nice and refreshed. Like maybe you had a good dream, and like I don't know. That's like a good time for me. I love that part.
Mm.
Also, anytime I'm eating, I feel safe.
Yeah.
I'm like nice and fed. Like I'm nice and fed. I'm feeling safe. Yeah.
Let's pivot to a memory. When's the first time you realized you were black?
Um, I have this very distinct memory of realizing when I was black and different. Like I knew I was black, but didn't realize how it compared to white people because I grew up in Inglewood in Los Angeles, and when I middle school I got into a magnet program and was bused out to Pacific Palisades. First, I was bused out to Brentwood, to Paul Revere Middle School, and then I went to Palisades High for high school. So I got bused out there because of my good grades, and I was in these magnet AP classes. And I remember I was like getting bused out there, wake up at crack of dawn just to go out there to be in these schools where it was predominantly, white kids who lived around the corner, whereas I woke up 2 hours to get to school. And I remember this one day our teacher had gave us an assignment and I handwritten wrote it because we didn't have a computer at my house. So I handwrote my paper and I turned it in and she was like, no, 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 this has to be like it has to be typed up. Like she like, what, you don't have a computer? And like it was this white old woman who brought that up and I had to like lie and say like, no, our computer broke down and like your printer wasn't working. and I will redo it, and I had to come up with that. And I realized like that was something I realized like all these other students in my class like had laptops and top of the line stuff, and like I didn't even have a computer because I just we didn't have one. It wasn't something that was like a necessary thing in my house. And I remember realizing that I did not fit in with these people, and that these people like like even my teacher who spoke down and didn't realize that how hurtful her words were to like a young black kid in a class full of I was the only black kid in my class, by the way. So like I'm in a class full of all these white kids who went to school with each other since like pre-K and like knew each other, and I'm like you know not really. I'm just like playing catch up. And I remember having to go home and tell my mom, and she like bought a computer that weekend. And like my mom provided as much as she could, and she told me going there, she was like, it's going to be a million times harder for you because you are black, and because you don't know these people and you come from a different place. And just like never forget that. And I never ever forgot that.
Mm.
Yeah. And I went to school in those areas, from sixth grade to high school,
Yeah.
and like surrounded by these rich white privileged children. And a lot of them became my friends, and like of course I hung out with them. And but I also always knew that like this is like I'm in a world that isn't going to be as receptive to me, you know,
Yeah,
as
wasn't catered for you or kids like you.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like it's just I knew things would just always be harder, uh, and that was something I always struggled with. And I just knew my mom told me like you're just gonna have to work harder you're gonna have to fight harder, you're gonna have to work harder and show people that you aren't this stereotype. And when I came out, then it was even more. It's like you're a gay black man too,
I
so like black child, and it's like just adding on top, which like
right,
uh,
all the isms. I call it the isms.
that
Um,
is
I was gonna ask you, your response was very interesting to me because you said that you had a hard time connecting. I think I read that to the black community, like especially after you came out, like you got um more shit from the black community than you did your white peers. What was that like at that age?
It was really rough because like I was saying, like I knew I didn't really fit in with like the white, kids that I went to school with.
Mhm.
And I knew as like as a queer, like gay man, like young child, like coming out, that like that's very frowned upon in like the black community as well. Like growing up in Inglewood, like I'm
Mhm.
like Manchester and Crenshaw right there. So like
That's
I'm
it.
in Inglewood. And so it was one thing where it's like I knew I wouldn't really fit in this group, like with the white crew, because of being a black person. But I know that being with being gay, like being in like predominantly black area, it's not going to be fitting as well. Whereas certain things went really well in other places. Like I felt accepted as a black person in Inglewood, of course, and felt accepted as a gay person in the white communities. But those things never really crossed over together, in like giant big areas. So it was rough, um, and as a young kid, when you're learning more about yourself, like I was learning about my like queerness and what that meant to be. And of course I dived more into that. And to explore that, I had to, I kind of withdrew from like the black community that I was around, because I knew that I wouldn't be able to flourish in the way that I wanted to flourish
Mm.
in those neighborhoods. Like also like I spent most of my time in like going to school in these areas, and it was when I finally felt accepted as like a queer person. And I found like small groups of friends that accepted me. And like it was a diverse I had diverse groups of friends, so
Mhm.
that like was very helpful. Like I wasn't just hanging out with Becky and Kevin all the time. So, like, I had like a diverse group of friends who like actually understood, and like were very accepting, and that helped me grow as a person to love and accept myself in all uh
I,
possible
I
all.
Yeah, I really appreciate you for sharing that because there's a lot of folks who say you're black before you're gay. And it's like you usually don't understand the intersections. It's not that you're not black here and not gay here. It's at different in different environments, in different communities, your blackness and queerness is interchangeable. Like
Yeah,
how you meet expectations of power change. So in the
yeah,
black community, yes, I am black before I'm gay, but my gayness um creates for there to be tension within myself, tension in the community, homophobia, transphobia, all the phobias to exist. So it's like, how am I black before I'm gay when my gayness is promoting for there to be a level of oppression uh, and tension, you
yeah.
know?
It's like being black. I like being in black communities. Like, yeah, I'm gonna be accepted because I'm black.
Yes.
'Cause, that's the whole like brother, brother. Like, being accepted because you're black. But then you add on my queerness thing, you're gonna knock off what, like, not accept me for that.
Right.
Which I always like. It took me like the black community and their, like, the whole like homophobia that is rampant in like black communities is really like, it baffles me a lot because it's like, like the fact that, like, as black people we've been through so much, we still are going through so much, and like, why not like be accepting of other people who like are still being like traumatized, and like I even say that about like gay people. It's like, you are over here, like, yes, queer people have been persecuted, so have black people, and like, why can't you be accepting of other people who are going through similar struggles as you?
Mhm.
And but, oh, but it's different. No, it's not. It's, yeah, it's different, but the root of it is to be accepting and tolerant of everyone. And like, I would go out to, like, if I went to the barbershop, I wear different clothes. I'm not wearing my skinny jeans. I'm wearing like a different outfit, wearing a baggy stuff, and like use a deeper voice. Like, I used to answer the phone, and like I had like a deeper voice where whenever I met anyone for the first time, I would use a different voice. It would be a deeper voice when I answered the phone. I'd be like, hello, because I didn't want to get, oh, hi, ma'am, or like, oh, this sissy coming up in here. And like, I had to switch it up. And like, there's only so much you can hide of yourself. Like, I can go to these white communities and like, be all like Oreo and like all like whitewash, and then, but my queerness is there, and I go around, black communities, and then hiding like my queerness, and then it's just,
That's
it
exhausting.
it is exhausting. It's
Mm.
exhausting. Um and it was a lot of stress in those times, and then I just had to come to terms and like, I just can't do this anymore. I can't be like trying to appease by everyone. And then I just said, fuck it. This
Mm.
is what you get.
Right,
Here we
I'm
are.
here.
Yeah.
Um, let's access another memory. When's the first time you realized you were queer?
Wow. First time I was queer. Um, there were some twins that were in my third grade elementary class,
Mhm.
Evan and Trayvon, and I remember like the girls talking about like, oh, I think Trayvon, like, one had a mole and one didn't, and like everyone was like saying like the one without the mole was cute, but I thought the mole was cute and adorable, and I remember being like, I was like, I think Trayvon's cute, and then I just remember being like, they're like, what are you talking about? And I realized I was like, oh, maybe I should not be saying that.
Oh,
I think third grade was when I really like remember like a coming out and realizing that things were different and putting a word to it. Um, but so I remember like definitely third grade at recess talking about the twins. It was like a very like moment for me in realizing like, oh, I think I might be like gay, and I think this is something that is bad, and I need to like not be this. And
but
I
that's such a cute response. Like I'm thinking of a little third grade boy, be like, oh, I think that little boy's cute. Like, it seems so innocent and so. Like,
So ridiculous. And I just remember I was like, I think Trayvon's cute. I'm like, I think Trayvon's cuter. And then I just remember I was like, oh my God. And I like was hanging out with like, that happens a lot of like young queer boys. Like you hung out with the girls, like your
yeah.
mom's like, stay out of grown women's business. Why you sitting all underneath the women? It's like, well, they got the best tea. Like
Yeah.
you're talking about football. Like, who gives a shit about that? Uh, I want to hang out with her. Um, so I think that was definitely like that was a very like pivotal moment. I remember third grade was my awakening.
Mm,
I didn't come out until officially come out until like eighth grade.
okay. Wow. That's pretty young.
Yeah, I that was when I told the first person was no, was it eighth grade? Yeah, I told the first person on eighth grade, and it was actually it was like the beginning of ninth grade. It was orientation of high school, and I
Mhm.
told my best friend, um, I was like, Rochelle, I think I'm gay, and we actually dated the year before, and she was like, I kind of know, and then like we both had like our first. I was like, she was the first person. She was like, well, I just gave this guy a hand job. I was like, yay! And like it was our first like experiences telling each other, and we're like, but yeah, that was orientation of ninth grade is like so yeah, in the eighth grade, ninth grade is when it eventually came
That's beautiful. I like that. I like that. If you could go back to your 12-year-old self, what would you tell him?
out. Wow. Um, um, stop thinking you can sing and signing up for chorus because you cannot sing, girl. You can't just because you sound good in the shower does not mean you are good. I did I did chorus, all that stuff, and I thought it was good, but they just needed a male body in the class.
I'm so glad.
Um, if I was young, if I could tell my 12-year-old self like really something, I would just tell them like just don't try so hard. Um, like, don't put so much energy into trying to make these people who don't matter like care about you. Uh,
Mm.
and just like to love yourself a little bit more because like I was just like I was trying to do so much and trying to appease and make everyone else happy and wasn't making myself happy. And I put my mom through hell uh,
Mm.
later on in the years, rebellion times. It was just one of those things. So like just yeah, don't try to be like make everyone happy and be nice to your mom. Um, you already apologized now, but like just avoid the apologies. Just be nice.
Just be nice. She's trying her best.
Yeah, give that. She loves you.
If you could get a message from your 60-year-old self, what would you want to hear?
Oof. Um, stop. You should have. Don't ever date bald-headed white man ever again. um, no, I just bought it. She was a long time ago. But no. If I mean, shit, if the 60-year-old me would tell me anything, it better be some fucking lotto numbers.
Oh, okay.
Be lotto numbers with a heartfelt message, but some good lotto numbers. I just would want my 6-year-old self to say that they were happy. I just want to be like, you'll be happy. You'll figure it out, and things will be good eventually. That's what the message I would want is like, you'll be happy. Um, and I'm happy right now. And it's like I just want this to continue.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
How do you experience love?
Um, I experience love through many different ways. I experience love through touch. And sadly, I can't really have much of that, but you know, even like my dog putting his like head resting on my like knee, like that's love, and that feels good. Like when my boyfriend like rubs my head at night when I'm sleeping, or I experience love by my mom sending me really not the funniest memes, but my mom sends me memes, and like
Mhm.
that's love. You know, she's trying her best. Like I experience love through that. I experience through um, the support I get from my community, from fellow like my friends, people who follow me on the internet, who I people I've never met in my whole entire life, but they follow me and they love my drag, and I make them happy. So that makes me feel love, that I can make someone else happy and they love me back. Those are like ways that I feel love is like through making other people happy, and like when other people are happy from something I've done, it feels good. It feels like I don't know, it feels like warm cobbler, you know, that warm peach cobbler. I'm sorry, I'm just thinking about the peach cobbler I have over there. It's like I'm like it just makes me feel like it feels at home, it feels good, and it feels yeah, it feels like you're getting like that validation that you need.
It also sounds like love for you is food.
Oh yeah, I mean, food is definitely love. I love me some good old sushi. I love me. I made my first cobbler for Christmas this year. I took my mom's recipe, and she just said, "Put enough sugar that it hurts when you taste it." And I was like, "Okay." I know, which I was like, "Damn, bitch, this is a little too much."
Tell me twice.
Yeah, but no, I love me some food. Like I'm a thick girl. I used to be a lot skinnier, but you know what? When you like I realized I was like, shit. I was like, when I started gaining weight, I was like, well, bitch, I'm making good money. I need to feed myself. Before I was just living off the top ramen. And so I was nice and skinny back then. But now, like, bitch, you know, I'm putting my money where my mouth is. So, yeah.
I have two more questions for you, my dear.
Yeah.
Um, once again, I am so sorry. Words are very hard for me. Like past 7 o'clock, it just like it all just jumbles. Ugh.
I get it. I've been in drag since for 9 hours now. So
Hmm.
I get it. Totally.
If you could change your identity, would you? And I've expanded this question to you could change any form. You could be a hummingbird, you could be a mountain, you could be a star in a universe, anything.
If I could change my identity, no, no, I wouldn't change anything about my identity. No, no. I love who I am. I love like the person I've grown to be, who I'm growing to be, because you're never really done growing. I love who I am. I love my skin. I love, you know, I put enough lotion on it. I should love this damn skin. So I love who I am as a person, and I love who like, you know, I went through doubts and times of like, am I in the right form? Like, is this who I'm meant to be? And like, I've grown to love who I am, and I realize like I was letting other people's voices in my head tell me who I should be, and I fell in love with who I am. And I think that's something like everyone needs to do is like love who you are, or if you don't, fucking change it to whatever you want it to be. And I love who I am, and I don't think I would change my identity, but if I could change into something else, like to a different form, I mean, like just for like fun, shits and giggles. Um, God, I don't know. I love animals. So I probably turn into some type of animal. I've always loved cheetahs and like big cats, so I probably would do that. Or I'd probably be like a raccoon, like a really cute raccoon. Raccoons are like adorable. Like
Their little hands.
their little hands. Oh my god, I want a pet raccoon so bad. Um, yeah, I love like if I like could probably turn into an animal, it'd probably be like um yeah, it'd probably be like a little fox or like a big cat. Um, but I one of my favorite lyrics that I've like always loved is this one song. It says, "Maybe when I'll die, I'll get to be a car, driving through the night, lighting up the dark."
Mm.
That's like something that's always resonated with me really well. I was like, oh, okay, that could be like, you know, maybe I'll be a car. It's like you're like she made it sound poetic, but like, you know, the car will break down eventually. But like I would like that sounds beautiful, like driving through the night, lighting up the dark. It's like it sounds really beautiful and fun, but probably a raccoon.
I love that. I love that. All right, my last question. Is there anything else that you really want to express in this moment that I may have not touched upon?
Um, huh, I don't know. I don't know. You like kind of like hit all the like good stops, and we like kikied over like fun little moments and some crazy shit that I lived through. Um, I don't know. I just want people to like. Obviously, if you're watching this, you give a damn about Black lives. So just keep going. Like just because people aren't burning down like fucking shit and burning down like Walmart doesn't mean Black lives don't matter anymore.
Mhm.
Uh, like just because people aren't actively out there, like continue to protest. Like just because we got like a Democrat in the White House and a like Black woman in there doesn't mean things are fixed and change.
That's
Just
right.
because there's a vaccine doesn't mean life has changed. We still have so much more to do. And just because just when they did the Emancipation Proclamation, they were like, "Oh, slaves are free." Shit wasn't good for us.
Right.
Shit still needs to get changed, and we're still working on that almost 200 years later.
Yeah.
So like, remember, like, there's still work to be done. Just because a few things are happening, just because we are getting one step further, we should fucking be miles ahead
Mhm.
further. Like, there's so much more work to be done. Um, I think that's something like people are like, oh, things are changed. Like, oh, Democrats, Trump's out of office. Like, that don't mean shit. Like, these people you put in office are also fucked up too. You
Right.
know, it's just like the lesser of evils.
At this
And,
point, because the
like,
state has no
it's
interest.
like you want a spoonful of shit, or do you want a spoonful of shit with a cherry on top? It's like it's still shit. Let's be real, it's still shit.
Definitely.
Uh,
Yeah.
but yeah, and I hope that like people continue to try to make a difference and fight and make a change, because that's the only way it's going to do it. Like going out there in the streets really makes a change and makes, shows it hurts people like the companies and the government where it really matters is when in their pockets.
Yeah.
If they're losing money, that's when they fucking get scared and want to make changes and actually do something. So make sure you go out there and get your reparations. And speaking of reparations, I host a digital drag show every third Friday on the Studs Twitch account, which is twitch.tv/studsf. I host a drag show there every third Friday called Reparations. Reparations is an all black drag show with drag, burlesque, musicians, you name it. If you're queer, black, and you want to send in a number, we showcase your talent. And I've been doing that since Juneteenth of last year, and we'll
Nice.
continue to do it every third Friday with an all black cast from the Bay Area and beyond. And it's been really beautiful to see like black people come together, and we get that white money, honey, and we give it back to put it back to black pockets. Put your money where your black square is, honey.
Right. Those black squares triggered the fuck out of me this summer. I was so livid. Like I couldn't even process what I was seeing. I was like, I can't do this anymore. I can't.
Bullshit. I remember seeing that. I was like, oh, so what is that black square supposed to do? Like, I didn't understand when everyone was posting it. I was like, why? And also, it like blocked all the good stuff that you should be seeing. So
Oh,
everyone's posting black squares, so you're not seeing like the information about protests or things about like the hearing what's going out in the news in the world. But you posted this black square and then went back to your normal program shit where you
right.
posted about showing off your ass, posting your little thirst traps.
Yep.
I post my thirst trap too, but hey, I'm black and I already did the fight. Fucking
I'm
22 more.
actively working, right. I,
I did my fucking. I'm doing a show every goddamn third Friday. I'm out here giving black people the spot at a moment, and like people out here like that black square did it. No, that didn't do shit. Honey.
I call it the regularly scheduled bullshit. Like people just like, yes, and then they just went right back to sleep. The amnesia just like
Oh
hit in so quick.
yeah,
Ugh.
and that's what's gonna happen right now. Like, the summer, summer of 2020, people were out in the streets and fighting and blowing up, burning shit, burn down all the police stations, honey. I love it. Like, people were out there making a difference, going out there, and then, everybody's where everybody at?
Yeah.
Nobody are out there no more. And like, just because like you a vote happened doesn't mean it's not done.
Mhm.
Like, there's so much more that still can be happened there's still Black lives being murdered. There's still people like who, like Black people are really affected by COVID. Like
Yep.
things like that. Like so much is like still out there that needs to be changed. Black trans women and trans people are being murdered, and it's like it's okay. But
Mm.
if some white bitch falls down a well, we got to stop the presses, change everything, go get Lassie. Like, no.
He's
Oh,
right.
Lassie, no. Lassie was racist too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Timmy was Timmy was never they never helped Kayvon out of the well. They didn't help Keisha fucking out of the well. It was always Timmy.
Right. Well, what was Timmy's dumbass doing there in the well anyways?
If he really want to be, maybe he needs to stay down there. Teach him a lesson. God damn it. Timmy probably needs to stay down the well.
Well,
Lassie never helped no Black people. Look back, no Black people were helped by Lassie.
I'm gonna stop us right here, my dear.
Okay.